Hey guys, what's up? It's Alec Torelli. Welcome back to an episode where I take your questions and answer them here in short videos for you. I got an awesome episode for you today. Coming up, some fun, exciting, experimental stuff going on here, so stick with me, and I hope you enjoy this stuff. Today's question comes from Colin, who's a 25-year-old graphic designer living in Dublin, Ireland. He says he loves the art of design, but hates the hours and the lifestyle associated with the job. He sees graphic design as his ticket to creating a badass lifestyle. And he loves that he can work from anywhere with his laptop, and his goal is to quit his job and make money freelancing or doing his own thing so he can have more freedom and space in his life to pursue that life that he wants. He's found some small but notable gigs here and there, especially like freelancing for some of the biggest names in poker, making them thumbnails for YouTube and other things. And he sees the potential to make money, but he's afraid to take that leap. And he also wants some tips to go about how to do it. Should he play it safe and take the guaranteed wage every month, or take the risk to live a life of freedom, which also comes with trade-offs like the potential stress of paying for bills without having fixed income? So in this video, I'm going to share with you a little bit of the pros and cons, how I go through my steps in terms of making these decisions, and what I think the best strategy is for someone like Colin in that spot where they're debating taking that leap of faith to do something on their own, to pursue their side hustle, as well as some strategical ways for how to do it. So first, let's jump into it. I actually can definitely relate to this story, and I took this question because in some fashion, I was in a similar spot as you. I was 18 years old, a freshman at SMU, and I knew that I had a pivotal decision to make. I was in a point in my poker career where I wanted to become a professional poker player. I wanted to go all in on my side hustle, but at the same time, I had this other thing, and it wasn't a job, but it took the place of a job. It had the same requirements of my time and energy as a job, which was school. And so I felt this divide where like I could only, I either had to put poker on the back burner or put school on the back burner. And it was a really tough decision to make. And ultimately I ended up choosing poker, but it wasn't just, and I want to share a little bit about how I made this decision just to show you that it wasn't just something that was necessarily binary. It wasn't like, it was binary in the sense that eventually you have to choose poker or school or your job or freelance or working for someone else if you want to reach a very high level. But there are steps you can take that are intermediary to make it responsible as a choice. It wasn't just like, I have this idea, I want to play poker, I'm going to do it. There were certain milestones I hit along the way, which I would recommend you doing in your job as well, to make sure that you're doing this responsibly. And so for me, it was saving up to having a certain amount of money saved. It was reaching certain milestones in my career, like making the final table of a super big live tournament, or winning major online tournaments, or smaller, medium online tournaments, and saving up a certain amount of money to where I knew that I could do this responsibly. And I'll walk you through that in this video as well. So, depending on, like when I did this, I want to just kind of preface, like I had some luck on my side. Like, there's certain things that lined up and went well for me, like when I moved to Australia and I was 18 years old, I ended up winning the biggest tournament in online poker history for $250,000 that year, right when I took that leap of faith. And then I also went on that year to make, be one of the biggest winners in online poker history, playing cash games, putting me up there with some of the biggest names, putting me on the map in the poker world. And I'm not saying that to brag or to impress you, but just to show that like there were certain things that happen that you catch these lucky breaks. And so I want to kind of address some of the naysayers when they say that you need a lot of luck in this to make it work, because it really depends on what your ultimate goals are. And so I'm going to explain it two ways. The first is that if you want to reach, a certain level, you're going to need luck on your side. If you want to create the next Apple, Colin, if that's your goal, is you really want to create Apple, you're going to need luck. It's like playing a poker tournament. You need to have everything go your way, even if you're the best player in the world, to reach that level of success. Skill alone isn't going to get you there. It's not to say there wasn't amazing amounts of skill in major companies like Google and Apple, but there's a lot of things that are just simply timing or just simply good fortune, breaks that go their way. And I, as a poker player, the reason I shared my journey with you is I had those breaks to reach the top of the poker industry. I played my hand well, I worked my ass off, and I worked really hard, but I also got lucky as well to necessarily give me the kickstart to excel my poker journey to where I could reach not just a level of success, but reach the highest levels of success in poker. So If your goals is to reach something like extreme, like building a major empire business, you're going to need your fair share of luck in addition to having talent. But there are other paths that don't require luck. And the good news is that most people don't aspire to create Apple. Most people want to have a life of freedom, that they work for themselves, they're their own boss, they make their own schedule. And the truth is, in my opinion, if you're good, you work hard, and you have business skills, you will 100% win in the long term if your goals don't require luck. And I believe that goals that don't require luck are just you being an entrepreneur, working for yourself, supporting yourself, and making your own lifestyle. So that's my long-winded answer to my story and why I took this question, and also how I think it ultimately plays out for you. And if you keep that perspective in mind, that if you do have, I don't want to say realistic goals, but if you don't have incredibly ambitious goals, if your goal is just to create that lifestyle that you want for yourself, that can absolutely be attained on your own, provided you do the right things, you have the right skills, and you work hard and you're disciplined. So I hope that gives you some confidence, because you wrote to me in your email that you're afraid to go about taking that leap of faith, and I hope my journey gives you some perspective on the relationship between luck and skill, and ultimately what it takes to succeed. So now let's talk about how I would go about doing this. There are definitely some pros and cons to being your own boss. I'll share a little about my experience and what I think the pros and cons are, because I think this is important to address when you're debating creating an ideal lifestyle for yourself. Let's first talk about the cons of working for yourself and being an entrepreneur. Number one, you're going to have months where you struggle. You're going to have no fixed income. And so the difference between having a steady job and fixed income is that you're going to have to be much more prudent and responsible with your money. When you're making money, you're going to have to save a lot to cover the months where maybe you don't make money. What happens if you want to take a month off? When you're a freelancer or you're your own boss, if you take a month off, you're not getting paid for that month off like you would be if you were a teacher. You don't make any money. So you have to be responsible when you're making money and say, okay, well, the months I'm not working, or the months I'm not hustling, the months I'm not freelancing, I'm not going to be making any money, and that means that I'm gonna have to use my reserves to pay for my own bills. So that's definitely something to keep in mind, and that is a con of working for yourself. You're going to have months where you do great and months where you don't, and that volatility is sometimes difficult for people to understand or get used to. Number two, contrary to what popular people think, popular opinion where you're sitting on an island with pina coladas chilling when you're your own boss, sure, you might do that occasionally, you might get to that point, but you're going to actually work more, not less. The old adage, I feel like, is very true. You work 60 hours a week for yourself, so you don't have to work 40 for someone else. Number three is that work never really escapes you. Because you're your own boss, you're always mentally connected. I've written about this and talked about this before, but basically there's this idea that when you work for someone else, when you go home at 5:05 p.m., you're mentally shut off because the problems of your work usually aren't yours. Let's say, to take a trivial example, I mean, sure, this is true of some jobs, but let's take a trivial example like you work as a waiter. You're not thinking about the problems of the restaurant not having enough customers. You're not thinking about how to acquire more customers for the restaurant. You're not the boss of that restaurant where you're thinking about how to do partnerships to get food products into the restaurant, to sell things, to make extra money. You're just shut off, and you think about work again when you go back the next day. That is a pro of working for someone else. But the con of working for yourself is that you have to create the business, and there's always work to be done, which means work doesn't ever escape you. Even when you're on vacation, you're still going in the back of your mind about what things you can do, how to hustle, how to make more money, get more jobs, more opportunity, because you are your own boss. The number four is that for many people, they have less free time being their own boss in the beginning. Despite being able to make their own schedule, you are your own worst enemy. And so being your own boss is going to require more self-awareness, more discipline, more work ethic to force yourself to get things done. It's so easy to get up in the morning and say, oh, I'm just going to sleep in today, or oh, I don't have to work on weekends, or oh, I don't have to do this today because I create my own schedule. But the truth is, when you are your own boss, you're going to have to be really disciplined to make sure that you're actually getting the things done that you need to, and creating your own schedule. So it's easy to be your own worst enemy, and that's definitely a con of working for yourself. Now that we discussed that, let's talk about the pros. First and foremost, pro number one, which in my personal opinion, as an entrepreneur, as a professional poker player working for myself, this pro alone outweighs all of the cons, and that is freedom. Having the freedom to live, work, travel where and when you want, to me, is worth all the money, all the stress, all the volatility, all of the fact that I'm always in fifth gear, even when I'm on vacation. Like, it's just worth everything to me. In fact, I put out a poll on my Twitter recently, or maybe it was a while ago now actually, that said, would you rather work, assuming you can only choose one option and you can't hack the system and like choose one option and then switch, you have to do this for the rest of your life. You can, or until you retire, you can make $1 million a year working for someone else, like 50 hours a week on Wall Street, or you make $100K a year running an online business. Which one would you rather have? And I was surprised that like half the people chose the $1 million a year. And I didn't really understand that choice, because for me, it would be so trivial to take the $100K a year, living whatever life I want, because with that amount of money, I could live whatever life I want. I'm frugal and I don't spend a lot. I'm very resourceful. And so with $100K a year, in control of my time, I personally believe I would live a way better life than someone that had $1 million a year that, yes, they can maybe fly private and I can't, but they don't have control over their time. They can't pursue the things they want. They can't live when they want, where they want. They can't work when they want. They can't work where they want. And so when you think about this trade of time and money, you should think about what camp you are in and what your ultimate values are. If you value the $100K a year in an online business, chances are that the pro of having the freedom to work wherever you want and whenever you want will be enough for you to potentially pursue being your own boss. Second pro is you can design your life. We kind of talked about this in number one, but you're the CEO of your own life, which means you can choose what to work on. And a lot of people aren't fulfilled in their jobs. Colin, you mentioned this too, that you don't hate your job, but it doesn't give you that meaningful passion that you have for maybe something else like graphic design, which you feel like is your calling. But when you work for yourself, you can create projects that are centered around what your deeper life goals are, what your deeper purpose is, what you value. And if you're really charitable and you want to help elephants in Africa, you can do design work that helps a charity that is promoting that cause, and you can feel like your work is contributing to your deeper goals in life. And most people, when they have jobs, it's hard to have their job align with their true purpose and get paid and have the skill set. It's just hard to make it work. Whereas when you're the CEO of your own life, you can design that life, and that's a huge pro of working for yourself. The third pro, and there are many more, I kept this list short, but is that there's a higher upside in my opinion. Usually the salary you get paid as an employee is not going to potentially be as high as it will be if you create your own company, right? The upside of having your own company is that the potential upside is higher, not only from a lifestyle standpoint of controlling your time, but also in terms of what your ceiling is to make. You can increase your hourly if you are working for yourself. Now, this might not happen in the beginning. You're going to struggle more. It's going to come at a cost in the sense that you're going to have to work more to get it, or it's going to take longer. But usually working for yourself, you can have higher margins, higher profitability, and create a bigger company than, of course, you could if you're working for someone else. So those are my list of pros and cons. And now that we've kind of addressed these things, and if you're still ready to make that leap and you say, you know what, I think I still want to go forward and do this, let's talk about how. Like, how would you go about starting? And the thing that I kind of want to draw back on that I talked about in my personal journey is that it's not all or nothing. You can ease into this, and you could define a clear point where you're going to make that leap. So you can say to yourself, when I have this amount of money saved up, when I have this amount of clients, or when I'm billing this much per month, then I'm going to make that leap of faith. So it's not necessarily binary where you have to just do it all with no background or no history or nothing. You can sort of ease into it. The one way I think that would be really helpful to do that, which really helped me on my journey, is defining my worst case scenario. For me, when I was playing poker, it was like, I'm 18 years old, I have $20,000 or $30,000 saved. The worst case scenario is I'm going to play poker for a defined period of time, which I said was a year. If I lose all my money, or a year ends and I'm not in a better spot than I am, whichever comes first, I'm going to go back to school. So I knew that my worst case scenario was I'd be broke, which everyone else around me was. I'm not supposed to have any money. I'm 18 years old, and I'll be a year older, and I'll be back in college. So essentially my worst case scenario is I'll be 1 year older than everyone else, still in the same place. I would have enjoyed 1 year of my life trying something, but I would have failed. But my best case scenario was that I achieve my dreams of traveling the world full time, living the life I want, playing high stakes poker. And so the best case scenario usually lasts, the worst case scenario. And I think defining it and writing it down, physically writing it down, helps one get over the fear and realize that the worst case scenario isn't really that bad. And so I would try this for a defined period of time. Say, okay, I'm going to take 6 months out of my life to pursue, being a full-time graphic designer. One thing you want to do, an exercise that would really help that I wish I had when I first started, was to do your ideal cost of living. This is an exercise that I put together that I've done over the years and I've refined and put together and made available to you absolutely free at alectorelli.com. You could click the link below and download this. It's a financial planner guide. And it's going to help you define how much your ideal cost of living actually is and how much money you actually need to have saved in order to take that leap and decide that you're going to go forward with your graphic design work. You want to do it responsibly. You don't just want to say, okay, I'm going to just quit my job because I feel like it now or because this is my goal. You want to have a certain amount of money set aside so that you can have 3 to 6 months of living expenses set aside for that time period that you're allocating towards pursuing this full time. And the exercises available at alectorelli.com will help you do that absolutely free. So I made those available in the link below. Click the link and you can get access to them. So that would be my first step. Define my worst case scenario, define my cost of living, and set aside a milestone that if I hit that goal, then I'm going to pursue this dream of mine. So that would be my first step, and that would be the practical way I would go about doing this. Then once you do that, you want to have the tactical step to market yourself. You want to say to yourself, okay, what should I actually be doing now that I've made that leap of faith? Like now that I've decided to be full-time, or I'm in that transitional phase of being full-time, how do I go about it? How do I get clients? How do I pursue the business side of things, right? So you emailed me your resume asking for advice. And the first thing I would say is you have great graphics. You emailed me a link to some of the graphic design things you made, and you have talent, man. Like, I'm not just BSing you. I would tell you if you were, you had no talent or whatever, I wouldn't just like blow smoke up your ass, whatever. But you have a lot of talent, man. You're like really good, and I'm really impressed with some of the graphic stuff you made. Like, it's way better than I thought. I don't get hit up, like I get hit up occasionally for different like freelance stuff, and yours is amongst the top of the best I've ever seen. But one thing I would suggest is, so that I'm confident that you have the talent to do this, but the question is, are you going to have the business sense, the business skills to get the work? Because nobody's going to just come to you, at least not in the beginning, and say, hey, Colin, I want to use your skills because you're talented. You have to market yourself. You have to put yourself out there and get the leads first so that the word of mouth gets out that you're the person to go to within your niche, and then you get the traffic. But one thing you did that I would suggest maybe you can change in your email is, while I appreciate you asking me for advice, I wouldn't really be doing that with other clients. You want to prove, and one thing you didn't do with me that, regardless of whether you wanted my advice, which I'm grateful for and I appreciate, regardless of that, there's one thing you could do that I think would be even better to take your email to the next level, which is prove you can help. You want to find something wrong with whoever it is whose services that you want to offer yourself to, and fix it. So what are their deeper goals? How can your graphic design services help them reach that? So one thing you could add to your email is saying something like this. If you were saying this to me, I would say something like, okay, Alec's problem is his thumbnails aren't, pretty enough. They're not beautiful enough. Well, they are now because they are now. But in the past, let's say, my thumbnails aren't beautiful enough, or my whatever isn't beautiful enough. I'm going to offer my design services and say something like this. There's nothing worse than great content creators not getting their work seen because it's not marketed effectively. Here's how I can help. I believe I can increase your views on YouTube by improving your thumbnails. As you know, thumbnails are huge for increasing clicks. More clicks means more views, which means your message can reach more people. So in that short paragraph, I did 3 things which are huge. I showed that I understood the content creator's struggle, the person whose services you want to offer yourself to. You showed you understood their struggle, which is marketing. You showed you understood one of their major goals, which is getting more views on YouTube. So you addressed their pain points, and you demonstrated competency by showing that you know why it's important, and then you told them that you can help them improve it. So that's a really impactful paragraph that you can add to all the emails that you send to people, and then you're gonna get responses. People are gonna feel compelled to at least give you a chance. Then I would make them an offer they can't refuse. And this shows confidence in your services, and if you make them an offer they can't refuse, they're gonna take you up on it. I would say something like this. I've went ahead and remade 3 thumbnails for your most popular videos to show you how I can help. I'm confident in my ability to bring value to your company, so I'm willing to offer you my services for free for a week or 2 weeks or 10 thumbnails, at which point you can decide if you want to pay me on a freelance basis. I charge X per thumbnail and X per hour. I would put that in there so that they have the goodwill to understand that they're not going to take your services for free if they can't afford your hourly rate. So I would put that in there because I know for myself, like if I knew I wasn't going to pay that hourly rate, I would never ask that person to work for me for free for 2 weeks. And I think most people aren't going to do that. They're going to have the conscience not to do that because it's kind of a cheap way to get free labor. So that's the way I would go about it. And then what I would recommend on that point is don't undercut the market. You mentioned that the market was really competitive. Well, one way to distinguish yourself is to target certain people within the market. The market is competitive, if you notice, in the middle, where everybody's competing to have the average sort of business person work with them. But the market is not competitive at the top because not many people are competing to work for the premier products. So you don't want to undercut the market. You want to go premium and charge more, and in addition, offer more value. So maybe you tie your graphic design skills into a full service agency who designs websites and does their marketing through Facebook ads. So now you're saying, okay, not only do I do graphic design, I could also build you a website, which is what most people that need graphic design work also need in this digital era. They need a website. So you're placing yourself as a premier person in the industry by offering a full service offering. Or maybe you offer other things besides graphic design. You offer, marketing advice or consulting or strategy work. You have to find what your skills are and what direction you want to go and find a way to charge premium prices, because you're going to need less clients, you're going to attract better clients, and you're going to work with people that ultimately are going to value your work more. The last step to this equation is the marketing. So you want to build word of mouth about your services and find ways that you control the conversation. So one of the ways to do that is Instagram. You're definitely going to want to put your work on Instagram. It's a great place to show off your graphic design skills by using Instagram strategy and hashtags. You can Google more about Instagram strategy, but you're going to be able to attract people in your niche as well as people that are going to find you through your bio, profile, etc. I would also go about DMing people on Instagram who you want to work for using the strategies we just discussed. Just send them a DM and make them an offer they can't refuse. It's a numbers game. 90% of the people are going to say no, but who cares? Focus on that 10% that are going to say yes, that are going to get you those first gigs that you need. This can be a great, effective way for free to build traffic. The second thing I would do is you want to build an email list. Just like I did in this video, you want to give away something for free that's really going to help people. For example, in this video, I offered you a free guide to help with creating your ideal lifestyle, which is people are going to value. I give that away for free. In exchange, I get an email address, and that can be used in the future to market yourself, your services, or whatever it is. At Conscious Poker, for example, my poker training site, I offer amazing free downloads, free charts on which hands to play from which position, or my guide to hand reading, how to help people better understand what their opponents are holding in any situation. And that content is all free. All I ask is their email. In addition to that, I send weekly newsletters to my entire list called Crush Mondays, which is an awesome newsletter to help people with making their week even better. So it's the 5 or 7 or 3 or 7 things that I enjoy the most that week that are going to help people have a better week, whether it's awesome apps I'm using or products or foods or biohacking, whatever it is. There's awesome things that I'm sharing with people about how to improve their lives during that week. And that's content that I give for free to my email subscribers. Sure, 5%, 2% of the time, I'm sending them an email with a product or course offering that I have or to work with me personally, but that is okay because in short, I'm giving way more than I'm asking. And with email subscribers, it's all under my control. It's not on something like YouTube or a different service where if they change the algorithm or they change something, you don't control any of that data. Whereas email, you actually control everything. And that's I believe the best way to build your brand and your portfolio long term. The third thing I would recommend is to make a profile on Upwork. Upwork, formerly Odesk, is an amazing service. I've used it to find freelancers from all over the world and build my team to help me run my online business. And it's a great place that you can make your services available for free for anyone in the world. So you want to reach out to people. Like most people on Upwork just make a profile and hope that people land on go and reach out to them. You want to be proactive. You want to make your profile, display your best design work, get a few gigs going on there so that you get positive ratings, so you reach the top of your industry and your niche, and then reach out to people who you want to work with. Send them DMs using the strategies we discussed, and I highly believe that'll help you find more clients who want to work with you at the price that you want to charge using your services. So that is my strategy, man. I want to do something cool in this video and really help the community get behind you and hopefully help you kickstart your journey and give you that confidence that you need. So I'm going to do something that is a little crazy, but I put together a link below where people can fill out a form if they need graphic design services. Guys, if you are watching this video and you think Colin is an amazing graphic designer, I could definitely vouch for his work that I've seen. It is incredible. If you guys have graphic design services that you want, why not try Colin out? I mean, I'm always looking for great talent. People are always looking for great talent. He's looking for work. This could be a great marriage between the community like you guys and Colin to kickstart his graphic design journey. So fill out the form below. If you have questions, I will share this form with him via email. He will reach out to you. I hope he will reach out to you, and you guys can work together. So this could be a great way for the community and Colin to connect and kickstart his graphic design journey. So if you have questions for Colin, you want to work with him, you want a graphic designer, you want to see what other skills he has or how he can help your business, fill out the form below and Colin will be in touch with you. I'll share the spreadsheet with him and you can help him, he can help you. It could be a great marriage for you guys. So I would love to hear your thoughts on this video as well. Should Colin quit his job in freelance? What advice do you have for him? Leave your thoughts in a comment below. If you like this video, let me know by liking it and giving it a thumbs up, and most importantly, subscribing to my channel. That lets me know that I'm producing awesome content for you guys so I can continue to do more of this stuff in the future. You guys are awesome. Colin, you're a legend. I wish you the best of luck on your journey. I hope you crush it and take your graphic design business to the next level to help you live that life you want. That would be incredible. So much love, everybody. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.